Are you tired of having these long and boring interviews with even more boring applicants who are trying to take that new vacancy you just put out? Scrolling through pages of resumes and still don't understand whether they did or did not finish their education? Let's all face it, you as a manager do not have time for all these problems. You need a team that is performing at its peak and be great fit with your company. Introducing the new Applicant Tracking System 3000. Features proprietary artificial intelligence to only select the best candidates. Save time to do the stuff that is really important. Find the best applicants for your company and instantly hire them. Self-learning and adapting. Buy now and get free updates for 1 month.
So let's say you're the hiring manager. It almost sounds absurd to be buying this type of technology, or doesn't it? So for the past decade, we see in almost every single industry a remarkable shift towards the recruitment's hiring process. This is called the so-called Applicant Tracking System, ATS. It is a screening tool. It uses artificial intelligence to help you to find the best candidate for your specific vacancy. So this big shift actually stems off from two factors. First, we have the massive acceleration of the development of AI. And second, we have that large companies are already seeing what the potential gains and cost efficiencies are for AI. So did you know that actually 24% of the businesses give start to the adoption of AI in their recruitment processes? It is believed actually to do this pandemic, that number will be still increasing. However, this mass adoption of this technology of course requires a clear set of ethical rules that can be helped for making such important decisions as hiring new people to your team. Isn't that right, Stephanie?
Yeah, exactly, Tim. AI has seen a rapidly expanding approach throughout the years, and the usage have been growing tremendously. ATS is an application tracking system which is used over the world. It is a system which uses an enormous amount of applications each day. In the case of Amazon, they use it as well. But how can this be possible? Could ATS or AI can even be called ethical? The screening approach developed a bias towards men and downplaying women. This is called a cognitive bias. The screening limits the human participation, which results in the system being opaque. This is because of machine learning and therefore difficult to understand the pattern which has been evolving around why they choose men above women. The question remains, can the ATS system become ethical and what are the consequences for today's society?
Exactly. So when we consider the unethical decisions that an ATS can make, there are two central dilemmas that emerge. Therefore, the question that we need to ask ourselves is how big is the ethical impact on our society and in which problems does it result? For the first ethical dilemma, we should take a step back. Is it even ethical at all that we let artificial intelligence make ethical decisions instead of humans? So as we know, machines can only select from a bounded set of categories or decisions that are provided by them directly or indirectly. Whereas humans use case-by-case reasoning in order to make complex ethical decisions. So the second dilemma at play is that artificial intelligence is used often based on deep learning methods, which are prone to human bias. And even though the speed and the capacity of artificial intelligence goes way beyond the capacity of processing that humans can, it is still not always to be trusted as fair and neutral. So AI systems are designed by humans, which means that they can be biased and judgmental. The performance of the models that are used will be at best equal to theirs of their human hiring managers, which means that if the resume checkers are prone to bias for, let's say, women or minorities, the model will be biased as well. In Amazon's case, only resumes were submitted by past candidates, which means that they thought they would already be a good fit to the organization. This is the self-selection bias. Hey Tom, could you tell us a bit more about the solutions to this problem?
Sure thing. If you want to make sure that AI-related developments are good for the society as a whole, there are three areas of concern. These are the aspects of ART: accountability, responsibility, and transparency. Accountability refers to the system's need to explain and justify decisions to its stakeholders. Responsibility is the need to consider both the capability of the AI and the responsibility of the people working with it. And lastly, transparency. This is the need to describe, inspect, and reproduce the mechanisms through which an AI system makes decisions and learn to adapt to its environment. and of course the governance of the data used and collected. With these in mind, there are three solutions that we can redesign ATS. First, allow the AI to make some successful applicant suggestions, but be sure to involve humans in the decision-making process in order to make sure that the AI doesn't have any biases, and if there are biases, the humans are there to fix that. We call this solution the humans in the loop. Second, the AI models or data are usually private for corporate or legal reasons. Consider the usage of open source to combat transparency. Lastly, it is important to move towards educating recruiting teams and hiring managers on how AI can be used to drive diversity goals. It is also important to educate these recruiting teams on how to decrease cognitive biases.
So we believe that with the application of these improvements, ATS is rather on its way to become an advantage rather than a disadvantage in our career.